I'm Liz Santorro, and this is Pиер Годар, and we choreographed together the piece Relative Collider. And we have a company in France called Le Principe des Certitudes, making dance work, contemporary dance work in Paris, and we work often a lot in New York as well. So I come from originally a classical ballet training, and then I did my studies in university in neuroscience. So it's just a bachelor's degree. It's not. I'm not officially a neuroscientist in any means, but I was for a moment thinking I would become a doctor. So I was doing a lot of science studies, and then in that pathway to be thinking I was going to become a doctor, I actually wasn't able to fully stop dancing, and then I started to work more in contemporary dance and started to make my own projects, and eventually let go of the medical school medical practice idea, and I've been making work with Pierre for the past 5-6 years. Maybe you.
So my name is Pиер Goдар, and I'm originally trained as in applied mathematics, and I worked in finance for 4 years before leaving to start to work in theater, and I'm currently also working in the field of natural language processing as a researcher. I'm doing a PhD in Paris Sud, Orsay now. And I think this is, we both have scientific background that provides tool for the work that we're making together, but ultimately we're not trying to exemplify science in our work, we're trying to make performative work. I think it's a machine of attention between us and between the audience and us. I think it's made with a score of movement that provided structure to build a score of text that's changing every night. And those two medium are in conversation in this piece, but what we're trying to achieve is to enter a state performatively of conversation between the four of us and with the audience that's permanently changing. Yeah, I think the physics part of it is coming from the idea, the title, the relative collider is a made up expression, but drawing from the idea of like a large hadron collider is like devices where you send particles like very high speed against each other to understand what they're made from. So we're also trying to throw ourselves against each other to understand what we're made from, you know. So there's a bit of that analogy and metaphor. But beyond that, I think the physics of attention is trying to understand the way our brains function, like the way, I mean, there's a whole branch of research that's the neuroscience of attention, and we know that there's the inhibition of return, or there's all kinds of mechanisms where our brains choose what they pay attention to, like what's new, what's not new, like how do you vary enough, not too much, like what do you filter out, all that kind of filters are the things that we try to play with. So you can perceive something as repetitive, that's changing all the time, or something that's like not changing as actually changing. There's all kinds of weird devices that our attentions are playing with us, and I guess this piece is playing with that, and I would say all our work is playing with that. I hope so. I hope we found some. I think there's one here that that connects text and movement, as Liz said, through a structure that's rhythmic for the movement and that's lexical like for the text. So that's a contact point in this piece. We're making a piece right now that's dealing more with semantics. So text and movement communicate, but rather through semantics than say lexical patterns or and the preceding piece was working more at a syntax level, so I hope we're finding some of those contact points, yes. But we're still working to find new ones and deeper ones. I think every time we perform this piece, we're trying to experience something new with an audience that's in a different context and that has different references and a different environment and a different architecture. I guess what I hope is that this is gonna be rich, textured, complex, multiple, that it will be an experience that will stand out from all the ones that we already had with this piece.
I don't know what it's going to look like, and that's why we're here. No, it's true that to do this piece, particularly in contexts that are not English speaking, are quite a treat for us, because of the language is treated in a way that's more equivalent to the way that we would treat movement, because it's a sound and it's we can have associations and we can interpret what we want, but there's less attachment to the actual words. So it's always nice to be doing it somewhere where English is not as prevalent a language, or is not as strong in our experiences in doing the piece so far. So we'll see what happens.